Hey y'all, it's April the 16th, 2017. I just shot a very long video, but I had to shoot a follow-up to the video. It's something that I kind of left out. I feel that it's very important to kind of tack on to the end right here. So, see, like I said, during this whole, what was inspiring me to make the video about the marriages and the failures and the failed relationships, what inspired me to do that was a back and forth on the internet, right? Where there's people and they were trying to proselytize to me about not having a God and I should give it up, and that God, he's all fairy tales and stuff like that. So they were on there, but they're trying to have a debate with me, and the thing is, lots of times I'll just opt out of the debate. I don't have time in my day for it. Thing is, in my opinion, I have to suggest humbly, and I'm going to get further into these kind of details about debating, is, it's hard to have a debate with a person who assumes things about the other side of the debater. You know what I mean? Like, they'll make assumptions about the other side of the debate in order to, like, kind of, I guess, prove a point or something like that. Like, for example, lots of times, if I bring up God or whatever and someone gets offended, they'll talk to me about how I've been indoctrinated, and not only that, I guess I'm carrying on the indoctrination to these young children out here. How I've been indoctrinated, and it's kind of funny. It's a little bit offensive, but I'm personally, I'm not very indoctrinatable. If you understand what I'm saying, it's like, dude, if you were to know me, instead of making assumptions, if you were to talk to any person who's ever known me in life, and ask them about, like, someone trying to convince me, like trying to indoctrinate me, how easy it is to get me to believe anything. If I don't want to believe it, you just talk to them about how stubborn this guy is. Anybody who knows me, and they'll tell you, basically it's not real easy to indoctrinate this guy. I personally, it's a stubbornness, and just to go even further, it is part of the autism in and of itself, in the way that my brain simply cannot wrap around things that do not make sense and things that are of a suicidal nature and stuff. I mean, it can wrap around them, but at the same time, it does not accept them. Very stubborn. It's real hard to indoctrinate me into anything. Like, all right, people, they're going to make their assumptions, and they're going to try and debate, and I'm not going to want to debate, and people are going to call me a coward for not debating. But the thing is, people are going to make assumptions about me like I'm sort of some sort of indoctrinated person, and that's who I come to the table with. Like, that's what I'm bringing to the table. And meanwhile, I mean, it's not really safe to make assumptions, but that assumption would be incorrect. Completely incorrect, but you would have to know my background, and I don't expect anybody to know my background. I don't know anybody else's background. That's just why I can't assume things about you. Alright, such as that you've been indoctrinated. I don't know what happened to you at all. I don't know what people out there who are atheists out there, God bless them, I don't know how they got to be atheists and stuff like that. I'm sure they'd have many, many different ways. Maybe they've seen many, many bad things, and that caused them. That's what happened to my Uncle Willie. I mean, that happens to people. All right, it's not a problem. I can't assume that you were indoctrinated into atheism. Maybe you chose atheism. All right, what y'all aren't understanding is that's what I done too. I chose a God. All right, just so happens to be the God of the Bible. That's who I chose. You chose somebody else. Or you chose nobody. That's cool. Do whatever you want to do. Like, I don't know how many times I gotta say that, but just go ahead and do what you want to do. But the thing is, like I said, in these debates, lots of times, and you're gonna experience this. I've experienced this. I'm gonna experience it again, where people are gonna say that I've been indoctrinated. Meanwhile, here, I'm going to just give you a little small taste of my background. Well, nothing religious about my family at all to begin with. Secondly, I went to, like, Bible study school for like a year. I don't even remember what age. I remember that I went. Don't remember one single moment in that church, right? Like, nothing in that church stuck with me or was like any sort of indoctrinating tool that ever worked. I mean, I was so bored in this point in my childhood, going to these Sunday school Bible studies, I was so bored that I do not remember a single moment. In fact, the only thing I do remember is one time they had us bake bread. And I do remember that. That is a memory that I still have because the baking of the bread was interesting to me. And everything else wasn't. Meanwhile, I grew up, I did that Sunday school for like a year, and then who knows what happened. I don't care. I graduated. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. Don't remember. All right. I grew up in a just not religious at all type of family. All right. Not at all. There was a Bible in the house, but nobody ever opened it. Type stuff. One day I was having problems, all right, and there's been many days after that, but one day I was having problems, so I thought to open up a book, and I read it, and I was liking it, and I kept liking it, and I continued to like it. It's called the Bible. All right, I chose to do that. Didn't nobody tell me to do that. People probably told me in my life to open up the Bible and read it and stuff. Did not care. I never listened to them. Too stubborn for that. I got my own things that I'm doing, all right? So whenever they said that, no, it didn't. It dawned on me one day to open the book on my own, and I did it myself. Somehow, some way, people describe me as being indoctrinated. Indoctrinated by who? A person? Because I can't tell you who's the person who ever did that. No, I was indoctrinated by a book, a word, a message of hope and light and all sort of goodness, and a lot of people hate that book. It doesn't bother me that they hate that book. But you gotta understand, I chose it myself, and the fact of the matter is that it couldn't have been no other way, dude. Like, I will not believe, right? That is my whole being, to not believe. You could tell me whatever you want, and I won't believe it until I get the evidence. You show me some evidence. You prove to me what it is I should believe and not believe. All right, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing still. All right, and this indoctrination thing is kind of weird to think about it. I want to break down the word indoctrination just a little bit more before we get out of here. All right, indoctrination. Let's think about that. That's someone, basically an outside force, kind of forcing you to think a certain way until the point where you just happen to just think whatever way they tell you to do it. All right, let's think about that word, because by very definition, calling a religious person indoctrinated, just to keep it very simple, is a dangerous thing to do when you really think about it. Because just for example, let's go to Google or your nearest dictionary. I want you to look up the word religiously. All right, you're gonna notice that it has two definitions. Probably it might have even more, but most of them are going to have these two definitions. One's going to be in the way that relates or conforms with a religion. That would be a mass organized religion. That is one definition. If you go to the second definition of religiously, a religious person who does things religiously. The second definition of that is with consistent and conscientious regularity. All right, there is actually a second definition to the word religious and religiously. And it's commonplace. People use that word in that sort of context. All right, it's not unheard of that the word religiously could mean with consistent and conscientious regularity. I mean, think about that definition, for example, and how preposterous this is. And in that, who does things very consistent and conscientious with regularity besides autistic people? That would be like the main definition of autistic people. Even when it doesn't make sense, they do things consistently and conscientious with regularity. What that is a habitual nature of an autistic person that a lot of times it's exasperated, but it's a habitual nature that's in all human beings to do things consistently and conscientious with regularity, things that lead to success, right? Things that lead to happiness in our life, whatever it is that makes us happy, you'll find that human beings do things habitually with consistent and conscientious regularity. People are being described as religious, yeah, because some people do things consistently and with conscientious regularity. Yes, you can describe them as religious people because they see that there's formulas for success and they're following them, and that makes them religious, right? But like I said, that basically means autistic, right? That is the whole being of an autistic person it relates and it revolves around the fact that they do things consistently and regularly. All right. Meanwhile, I have people over here throwing at me that maybe I'm indoctrinated. I can't be indoctrinated. It is impossible, dude. This is the autism that I live with. There ain't no way out of it. I just believe what I see with my eyes. And when people give me good advice, I go ahead and take it. And that's when I hopped into the Bible. All right, a lot of people ain't going to want to read it. They're going to want to hate it forever. They're going to want to hate me forever for even suggesting it. Well, that's all right. It's all going to be all right. It's April the 16th, 2017, and I'll have to holler at y'all later.